Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna do that again. Energy check. How is everyone doing? I know it's early in the morning. Yes, thank you so much. I felt that energy, I felt the vibe. So, good morning, everyone. I am so excited to welcome you to Photoville Educator Lab Disability Visibility. This is, a day that I have been working on for several months. And so I really want from an intentional space for you to feel the community building, the joy, the learning, and also the unlearning. I think a big part of, the time that we are in is knowing what we don't know, right? And being okay with that and giving ourselves space and a breath to sit with ourselves in these very challenging times. And so remembering joy, remembering connection, even though we are in a time where we're in the time of the pandemic. It is still, very real. And so before I do the land acknowledgement, I always like to begin with a breath to ground the space. This is something that calms nerves, but also allows us to be present in our mind, body, spirit. And so with me, if you could do a deep breath to the count of 4. Hold for 2 and release. And so the space that the breath provides allows us to connect to our individual body, but also to ourselves that are connected to each other, sitting side by side, some empty chairs. But I think it's important to take those moments in our day, wherever you came from, whether it's a small town or a big city. I think that one of the things that is critical is that we remember, as we are looking at this topic of, people with disabilities, students with disabilities, are the individual, but also the collective. And so honoring the collective, I will read our land acknowledgement. I would like to take a moment to honor the ancestral and unceded land of the Lenape. Photoville exhibits visual stories in public spaces across the city of New York, which is located in the traditional homelands of the Lenape. Lenape call their homeland Lenape Hawking. We respect and recognize those who came before us and the experiences they had to endure. We commit to opening up more space for members of indigenous creative communities and providing public platforms to showcase their stories and ensuring they are compensated for their work. We encourage you all to support indigenous artists. Excuse me for fumbling over my words. I always pause after a land acknowledgement because it is heavy. It is reckoning with a troubled connection with our indigenous communities here in the United States. And so I just want to honor the ancestors who have passed on, but also the current communities that live on the land, their struggles, and just offer up a lot of respect and compassion to the issues that a lot of indigenous communities are currently grappling with. So to get into the inspiration for this event, I have to say that I entered in knowing what I didn't know. I'm getting emotional. As someone who has an invisible disability, this is very close to my heart. And so I wanted to find words that spoke to the realities of the disability community. And a lot of us are educators. We're speaking of students with disabilities, but this also is the larger people, seniors. It's not, age restricted. And so I wanted to say the words of Alice Wong, who is an amazing disability advocate. She actually created the Disability Visibility Project, which focuses on telling the stories, the archiving of the everyday lived experiences of people with disabilities. And so honoring Alice Wong, I'll be sharing several names from the community, the disability community. And so it's a way for us to get acquainted and after this, do some research, right? Like, these are things that should be shared with our students in our personal lives. I think the more we know, the better off we are. So these are the words of Alice Wong. There is so much that able-bodied people could learn from the wisdom that often comes with disability. But space needs to be made. Hands need to reach out. People need to be lifted up. The story of disabled success has never been a story about one solitary disabled person overcoming limitations. Despite the fact that the narrative we so often read in the media, the narrative trajectory of a disabled person's life is necessarily webbed. We are often only as strong as our friends and family make us, only as strong as our community, only as strong as the resources and privileges we have. So again, those are words from Alice Wong. And I chose that quote because obviously I've talked about the Disability Visibility Project, but this event needed to be centered from the space of having people who are from the community lead this experience for us to connect. Oftentimes we go to facilitated, programs, and that isn't the case. And so I think it's important when we are exploring whatever subject matter that we center the real life experiences from that community, if possible. And so that may mean doing a little bit more research. And I have to say that was something that I was committed to, was doing a deep dive into, learning what I didn't know, connecting, reaching out. And I've connected with some amazing people. And so I hope to broaden the programming. This is only a first offering. So I'm looking at expanding this festival-wide, and also building out more audiences. So that's low of hearing, the deaf community, as well as low vision and the blind community, and other people from the disability community, so that they can be a part of our festival. I do want to mention that we do have an educator grant that will be announced in the next couple weeks, and I would love for any educators to either apply or share that information out. It is an amazing opportunity to have your students work at Photoville, and so that will be on our website. And I always love when youth get an opportunity to see themselves and get an opportunity to have their work shared with a larger audience. It's great, in the classroom, but it's also amazing to have wider audiences hear from them, their perspective, what they're thinking. I think oftentimes, specifically with youth, I'm always wondering, what are they thinking about this time, right? It's it's challenging. We've been through a lot, and so I think the Educator Grant provides a great opportunity to express that. Lastly, I would love to give a special shout out to our amazing education partner, Photo Wings. They help support programming like this workshop. We also have free resources for educators on our website, toolkits and curriculum that have been a collaboration with photographers that have presented at Photoville in the past. And so those can also be remixed. They don't have to be, you go through a standard curriculum. You may not have time to do a whole unit, but maybe it's a half a unit. So again, tons of great resources. They are very integral to the work that we do here at Photoville. So I want to, like I said, give a definite shout out to Photo Wings. And lastly, if you need any bathroom breaks, I want you to do what feels good to your body. I mean, this is something that I really appreciate when I've gone to really intentional spaces, is to leave time for what feels good. So stretch your legs, get some water. There's coffee and coffee and beverages and things of that nature out in the hallway. There's water. We are filming. This will be available in a couple of weeks for folks who weren't able to attend. And there also, lastly, I will mention that there will be an education resource that I hope that educators engage with. It will include a lot of the resources that will be shared today that Stephanie Alvarado will be talking about, as well as Jen White-Johnson. The next thing that I would like for us to experience is, I feel like the sentiment when I think of the body, when I think of the community, the disability community. This is a poet by the name of Sonia Renee Taylor. She is a phenomenal poet but activist who has come up with this poem, The Body is Not an Apology, but it became a movement. So there is actually a book called The Body is Not an Apology, and it really helps us to center into the ways in which the body is politicized, is shamed. And I think in particular when we're talking about people of disabilities and the things that they need and are their birthright, we get it wrong. And so this is affirming and centering what the body should be and also what it shouldn't be. So if you could play The Body is Not an Apology.
The body is not an apology. Let it not be forget-me-not fixed to mattress when night threatens to leave the room empty as the belly of a crow. The body is not an apology. Do not present it as a disassembled rifle when they have yet to prove themselves more than common intruder. The body is not an apology. Let it not be common as oil, ash, or toilet. Let it not be small as gravel, stain, or teeth. Let it not be mountain when it is sand. Let it not be ocean when it is grass. Let it not be shaken, flattened, or raised in contrition. The body is not an apology. Do not present the body as communion, confession. Do not ask for to be pardoned as criminal. The body is not a crime, is not a spill to be contained, is not a lost set of keys, a wrong number dialed. It is not the orange burst of blood to shame white dresses. The body is not an apology. It is not the unintended granule of bone beneath will. The body is not kill, is not unkempt car, is not a forgotten appointment. Do not speak it vulgar. The body is not soiled, is not filth to be forgiven. The body is not an apology. It is not a father's backhand. It is not mother's dinner late again, wrecked jaw howl. It is not the drunken sorcery of contorting steel round tree. The body is not calamity. The body is not a math test. The body is not a wrong answer. The body is not a failed class. You are not failing. The body is not a cavity, not a hole to be filled, to be yanked out, not a broken thing to be mended, be tossed. The body is not prison, is not sentence to be served, is not pavement, is not prayer. Do not give the body as gift, only receive it as such. The body is not to be prayed for, is to be prayed to. So, for the evermore tortile 10th grade knows, hallelujah. For the shower song throat that crackles like a grandfather's Victrola, hallelujah. For the spine that never healed, for the broken heart that didn't either, hallelujah. For the sloping pulp of back, hip, belly, hosanna. For the errant hairs that rove the face like a pack of misplaced wolves, hosanna. For the parts we have endeavored to excise, blessed be the cancer, the palsy, the womb that opens like a trap door. Praise the body in its blackjack magic, even in this. For the razor wire mouth, for the sweet God ribbon within, praise. For the mistake that never was, praise. For the mistake you never were, praise. For the bend, twist, fall, and rise again, fall and rise again. For the raising like an obstinate Christ. For the salvation of a body that bends like a baptismal bowl. For those who will worship at the lip of this sanctuary, praise the body, for the body is not an apology. The body is deity. The body is God. The body is God, the only righteous love who will never need repent. Thank you all so much, Button. Thank you.
It's life. I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Sonia Renee Taylor, who's an amazing poet, and I said like activist. I think her work is intrinsic to what I want this day to be for all of you, and for, you know, when we're thinking of students with disabilities, their bodies aren't an apology, right? They just are, right? And there is the fullness of and the wholeness that we all should have a remembrance of, whether you're disabled or not. You exist, period. And so the body is not an apology, is a call to action. It's a remembrance. And so next I would love to bring up Stephanie Alvarado, who is our facilitator for the morning portion, and she will set the tone for the day. She'll be doing some intention setting, and this is her presentation. And so I want to bring up Stephanie Alvarado, who will be coming to the stage. Clap, you can finger snap.
Thank you. Buenos días. ¿Cómo están ustedes? Bien, bien. Hey, can we shout out Koren one more time? Just because, like, it's so necessary. Also, can we shout out Candace, the ASL interpreter? I actually remember Candace from a performance that I did at Brooklyn Children's Museum. I read a poem, and she was the interpreter at the time. So this is really beautiful to see you here in this capacity of me like doing a workshop. This is dope. All right. Good morning. Welcome. My name is Stephanie Alvarado. My pronouns are they, them. Born and raised in the Bronx, BX in the building. Anybody here? Okay. There's always one of us, you know. And we're going to start off with some intentions. There is a slideshow. I know, right? Here we go. Thank you. What's your name, by the way? Rose. Shout out to Rose for the tech. You know, it's one of the most awkward things. When you're doing a presentation, you got to press the button, walk away, press the button, walk away. So thank you. All right. So an offering for today. I want us to have a great time today. We'll just take a pause to think about some intentions. These are some offerings that we have. Usually some folks say maybe community agreements or community rules. This is basically our offering to ground ourselves. And we want to take a moment to think about all the teachers y'all had. I know we have a lot of educators in the room, formal, informal educators. We all are caretakers in some way, shape, or form. Let's think about what their intention was when they were reaching out to us in moments where we didn't see ourselves as where we are today, right? And we're a work in progress always. Think about that tenderness that you first felt when you were acknowledged or seen by an educator or inspired by an educator or a teacher, and bring that warmth to your heart in this moment. And allow yourself to be overwhelmed and surrounded by that warmth and tenderness. And then think about what intentions you would like to have for today in this moment as we move forward in such an exciting day today. Think about the respect and rapport that was necessary for you to trust that process, that educator, trust yourself as well. Confidentiality when you build community is really important. And today is an offering of kind of tools or models that y'all can use and bring back to your classrooms, to your best friend, to your partner, to the boo you're DMing on IG, who knows. You know, think about how sacred that trust is when you do develop that, right? Think about the confidentiality. Think about how important it is to listen actively, to know when to stop talking when somebody says, wow, that's crazy, after like the 5th time. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to know, to be checked in with your body when you're, you know, building community, especially when you're working with children with disabilities, you know, all kinds of disabilities. So think about how powerful that is when you come in this room and you have that intention to actively listen to one another today. Take care of ourselves. Koren mentioned this earlier. If you need to use the bathroom, use the bathroom. If you need a password for Amazon Prime that'll make you feel better, ask somebody. You know, like, definitely do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Make space and take space. Have a sense of humor. Obviously, y'all know I already have the jokes. Open-mindedness. These are all offerings that I wanted to start off with, but I want to give y'all like 30 seconds to ground yourself and hold that intention in your heart. Think about what brought you here today, how hard it was to go up those F-train steps. Whatever it was that brought you here today, I made it here, and it's before 10 o'clock. Like, think about all the strength that went into that, and hold that in your heart, and let's carry that throughout the day. So we'll take 30 seconds now. You can take a deep breath with me if you'd like. Close your eyes. And give this generous gift to yourself of setting your intentions. Thanks, y'all. That's beautiful. Here we can go on to the next slide, Rose. Thank you. This part, say their names. So, like I mentioned earlier, none of us were born knowing all the things, right? We all had a teacher. We all had somebody who mentored us, an educator, someone who opened your mind and just tightened that light bulb a little bit more to shine brighter. This is a moment to say those folks' name out loud. As we mentioned earlier, Koren mentioned bringing in ancestors into the space. These are folks who are no longer with us. These are folks who may still be with us spiritually, but are no longer here in the physical realm. So I have some examples here: Audre Lorde, Harriet Tubman, Lois Curtis, all who are Black women with disabilities who have passed on. And since the topic of today is disability justice, and how to bring this into classrooms, I wanted to start off by saying their names. And I invite you all to shout out names if you feel comfortable of people who have inspired you to be here today, or keep them to yourself, because we know that we may know some names that we can say out loud, but there are many names that we will never know of ancestors, folks that we may never be in touch with, but we carry them with us, right? So we'll just take 30 seconds to reflect, and if you feel moved to say those names out loud, please feel free to do so, because the energy that you release into the room will affect everybody else. And together, we'll move in that energy together, right? Fannie Lou Hamer, thank you, yes. Alfredo Boloyo, yes. Yes. Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson. Cool. Thanks, y'all, for all the names that were said and that were not said, that were kept in our hearts. We honor all those names that were said and carry that with us throughout our day today as we learn and exchange together. And may this good energy guide you to the rest of your week and into the weekend and to the new year. Because can you believe it's already November? Okay, go on to the next slide. Group introduction. So yes, I don't want it just to be like me talking at y'all the whole time. I would really love for folks to share their name, visual description, so I'll model it, pronouns, place, and what is your first memory. And then all this will make sense at the end. I know educators, you have the curriculum in your head, like, how is this going to, but trust, all secrets will be revealed. So my name is Stephanie Alvarado. I am wearing a red knitted two-piece outfit with a turquoise necklace, and I have short black hair with slight green streaks growing out of it. And I'm light brown skin, queer person. I have eye makeup with blue eyeliner and white eyeliner. And that's where I'm going to stop for my visual description. My place, like I said earlier, I'm from the Bronx, New York, by way of Guayaquil, Ecuador. So my family's from Ecuador. And my first memory, actually, is when I was 3 years old. And it was this really, so am I going to leave a voicemail that no one will ever check? No, let me stop. Yes. Okay. So one of my earliest memories was I was like 3, 4 years old, and I was picking out a cat, a foster care cat called Linda. And so my parents took me to the adoption center, and I just remember being really little and just like pointing her out like this. She was like sitting in a little corner. I just remember being like, Linda, Linda, like, which means like beautiful in Spanish. So I remember picking out the cat. And this comes to me really recently because I just recently got a kitten with my partner. So it's like coming like, oh yeah, of course I'm remembering Linda right now as my first memory. Cool. So I don't know who would like to start. I can pass the mic. Hola. Oh, if you feel comfortable without the mic, or? Okay, cool. I think there's mics up here, so.
My name's Alyssa. I'm 5'3", have black hair. I'm wearing a comfy sweater and jeans. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from South Jersey, Atlantic County. And my first memory is when I was about 3 years old, and my uncle told me to put out my hands, and I did, and he put a beautiful gold cross necklace in my hands, and unfortunately, he ended up passing later that year, so that's like my only thing that I have with him, but it's a very special memory I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go like this.
My name's Chris. Wearing some comfy jeans and my fancy Hoka sneakers. My pronouns are he, him. I too is from Beacon, South Jersey. And my first memory, which I didn't realize at the time until later, until somebody described it, was I just remember watching TV and hearing this drums, 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 drums. And later I found out that that was a memory of JFK's funeral.
Thank you.
My name's Heather. She, her. Also from South Jersey, right outside of Ocean City. Visual descriptions. I have jeans, my skate sneaks, and a sweater. I have short brown hair. I love my blue eyes. They're family trait. And that's good enough for me. Okay, so what's your first? I have the worst memory. So I feel like most of my memories are moments and not like actual events. So, and this one I'm probably remembering because I recently lost my father. But my dad was a snuggler. His girls were his favorite. And he always would snuggle with us, and he had this thing where he would just rub your arm. And it was magical, so that is my moment.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Joyce. That's my sign name. Oh, hi, folks. Hello. My sign name is, so I'm she, her, and I'm a BIPOC woman with curly, short black hair, nose ring. Yeah, I got it. Piercing. A nose piercing. Comfortable shirt with stripes, black and white, black pants. I live in Brooklyn at the present time, and my first memory, let me think, when maybe I was 2, my parents took me to an ice rink. We went skating, and I remember going in and just seeing how big it was, and I thought, whoa, that's the most big, beautiful rink I've ever seen. So I was really little, so of course it seemed very large. So that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, I just got it. Hi, my name is Adriana. I'm 5'4". I'm wearing everything black, basically everything secondhand, so there's nothing new on me. Pronounced she and her. Place, I'm from Slovakia, Trenčín, but currently living in America in South Jersey. And my first memory, I think, I'm not really sure how old I was, but I remember out-of-body experience when I had a really, really extremely high fever, and my mom was taking care of me, and I actually remember looking at her taking care of me. That was like, it still gives me shivers when I think about it, because it was, yeah, totally out of body. So I mean, I don't know what it does to our brain when it happens, but it felt like I was right there looking at myself, so.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I am from Sea Isle City, New Jersey. That's where I live currently. I am short, 4'11", Italian, Irish, and I'm wearing all black for the most part, a little brown, dark like usual. And my pronouns are she, her. My first memory was being rushed to the hospital when I was 3. My twin sister pushed the TV on me. I was in her spot. And so I had to get stitches on my face. That's my first memory of being in the hospital.
I'm sorry, I wasn't ready first, but my name's Allison. I've never described myself before, so this is really interesting. I'm tall and wearing black overalls, and I have reddish hair and blue eyes and light skin, and my pronouns are she, her. I was born in California and moved to New Jersey, and I don't know what my first memory is, but all of these others are making me think of things. So I also remember my mom taking care of me in a really specific way when I used to have ear infections, and I don't know, it's really nice to think about. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Adi Luz. You can also call me Ariana Luz. I am wearing a different shade of blue outfit, starting with blue Nike sneakers, pants that are patterned that kind of look like static, I feel, but blue and white instead, and a lighter blue denim top with the sleeves rolled up, long black curly hair, and exudes Puerto Ricanness, even though you can't see it. Pronouns are they, them. Man, if I were gonna do plays, I wouldn't have snapped so much from the Bronx, because I actually grew up in Westchester, so now I feel like an imposter. Born in the Bronx, grew up in Westchester, by way of Bronx and Manhattan. That's where my parents are from. I was like, these are really sweet sharings because my first memory is being in the basement watching Blue's Clues when I was 3 years old. I was literally just thinking about this, but I feel like the first memory I had of like my consciousness coming online was being in the basement when it's like probably the morning, but you can see the sun shining through because I know the lights were off, and it was just me and Blue's Clues on the TV. So that is literally my first memory, and yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jess or Jessica. I use she, her pronouns. I am 5'1", wearing black combat boots, shiny blue leggings, a long black cardigan, and a black shirt inside of that. I have black, slightly wavy hair that has some purpley browns in it right now. I did that for my recent birthday. And my family is from China. I'm part of the Chinese diaspora, political refugees who have been through multiple different homelands. And then I grew up in Queens, New York. My first memory is from the home that I grew up in Queens, in Flushing, and there was a corner of the living room where sunlight was coming through the windows. And it took me a long time to make sense of this memory because I just remembered being draped onto something really brown, and something that held me. And later on, I saw a photograph that was a photo of me as a newborn on my father's belly, as he was sitting at the corner of the couch, and sound asleep after a really long day of working at a restaurant for him. And I was a little nugget sleeping on his belly as a nap, and it was, it probably still remains like my sense of peace to imagine myself there.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Denise. I am wearing a pink top and black slacks, white sneakers. I am 5'1", and I am Latina from Central American ancestry, and my pronouns are she, hers. I was born in Long Island, but really call North Jersey my home, like around West New York, North Bergen area. And my first memory is actually, I think I was about 4, and I was coloring with my sister, and I remember, she's 2 years younger, and I remember being really annoyed with her because she was coloring outside the house. And I was trying to stay in, very intentionally bordering inside so that I didn't. And she was messing up my picture, which is very indicative of our relationship. So that is, yeah, and I just treasure that memory.
Thank you so much.
My name is Nadia. I am black with box braids, some Converse shoes, and a Champion School sweatshirt. My pronouns are my pronouns are she and her. I'm originally from LA, but I live in Bed-Stuy. My first memory is getting rail keys. I used to want to drive really bad, so my mom made a copy of all her keys, so I could have keys just like her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kenya, like the country. My pronouns are she, her. I didn't write them on the card because, didn't do it. I was like, okay, done now, moving away. I am from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, with the exception of actually born in Queens, but growing up in Brooklyn. And my family, we're black, so from Georgia for the most part. That being said, tall black boots, blue jeans, green turtleneck, shoulder-length locks, and glasses, golden complexion. And my first memory, you mentioned cats, so it reminded me of something that I know is a memory and not just a picture I saw going, oh, this is memory now, was me being in my dad's old house in Bed-Stuy with his grandmother, grandmother? I don't know, some old person that is no longer with us that I saw that one time and I knew was my family, but after that quickly had passed on. She had a stuffed white cat with like little fake kittens in it, like a toy kind of situation. Not like a taxidermy situation. Either one is fine. Either one is cool. Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful things. And it had the little kittens in it. I remember playing with her, but she didn't speak English at the time, and so it was like our form of communication, nurturing this animal together.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Patricia. My visual description, I have green sneakers, ripped up jeans, a beige comfy sweater. I have jewelry literally everywhere from my ankles, my ears, my hands. They're my little comfort. I identify as she, her. I currently live in East Harlem, but I was also born and raised in Queens. I am of Filipino descent, and so Queens is my home. And my first memory, can't think of anything specific. The only thing that really comes to mind is playing with my parents' VHS tapes and like the VCR and like rewinding it and just falling in love with doing that. And then and so falling in love with Billy Joel because my dad Billy Joel VHS collection, and I have absolutely love Billy Joel, and now I live in East Harlem, so I'm like uptown girl.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Patricia inspired my memory too.
Yes.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jen White Johnson. Hey.
Hey! Prepare for the afternoon, y'all.
Yeah.
Turn up.
So yeah, I'll be presenting later. So excited to be here as a fellow art educator and also neurodivergent, living with ADHD. And I'm an Afro-Latina woman with cinnamon brown caramel skin. And I was born in DC. My mom is from Ponce, Puerto Rico. Yes. My dad is from the south side of Chicago. So I got Black Boricua roots running through my veins. Shout out to my Taino Borinquen people, indigenous folks from PR. My mom's actually in Puerto Rico right now because my aunt's not doing so good. So holding space for her. And I'm wearing a green sweatshirt that says decolonize. Yes. Yes. I have on some really funky earrings with like a fist and some kind of like African patterns from Azteca Negra, which is like a really cool Latino brand in LA, I think, or Oakland. Let's see, my first memory, also very much like I'm an 80s baby, so grew up a lot. You know, growing up in DC, like we didn't have cable back in the day, so like literally my dad would be like recording HBO music from like his friends upstairs. So like we would literally watch like Toto and reruns of like Terminator and like like just back to back on VHS. So I have very distinct memories of just like consuming a lot of 80s media. So happy to be here. Yay!
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alicia or Alicia Galago. My pronouns are she, her. I'm wearing black shoes, these really comfy padded black and white striped socks, jeans, black shirt, black top. I have brown, wavy, curly, straightish, I don't know how to define my hair. Light pale skin. I'm from Maine by way of Rico, Italy. Interesting story how my family ended up there. First memory, my heart's being taken from my mother. So my heart's been pounding a bit because of this.
Thank you for sharing that.
Good morning. My name is Leah. I love days where you don't have to go to work and you can wear leggings and like super comfy clothes. So I've got my leggings on and a turtleneck and comfy sneakers. 5 months pregnant. A girl. I go by she, her, and I live right now in Brooklyn, but I'm originally from Canada, and I've been here for 20 years. And my first memory, I was actually talking about this recently with some friends, what our first memory was. So it's fun. I remember when I went to kindergarten, my mom used to walk me to school every day, and we always walked on the same side of the street, but I wanted to walk on the other side of the street because there were like flowers and stuff that I wanted to look at. But we always walked on the one side of the street, and so when I was finally allowed to go by myself, I walked on the other side.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
My name is Ruthie. I am short, white. I am wearing black shoes, black leggings, and a turquoise kind of hoodie. My pronouns are she, her. I am from Manhattan by way of my dad was an old school Brooklyn Jew. Our ancestors are from Russia, and then my mom is Australia from Tasmania. And my first memory, I'm just gonna say the first one that came to my head is over the summer, my dad used to take me to like this community swimming pool. And it was like a big community pool, all the kids would play, there was a deep end, there was a diving board. And I remember my dad coming to the pool, but he didn't really want to pay the admission, I think. And I think he also really did not want to get splashed. So he set up his
lawn chair on the other side of the fence from the pool and would watch me like from the other side of the fence. So I remember like swimming and looking through the fence at my dad like sitting in his lawn chair on the other side of the fence.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
My name is Irene, she, her. I guess I'm wearing comfy burgundy, whatever, slacks. I got my very comfortable German clogs made of wool. Splattered with a lot of wax because I work with a lot of wax paint. Green shirt, gray sweater, and I am short and a little bit overweight. I am of Greek descent, but I am also a diaspora person, and I would have like 3 passports because I was born in Africa. I was raised a little bit in Greece, but most of my time in Long Island City, Astoria. I guess one of my first memories was I was given a little ball, see-through ball, and inside there was this little yellow duck that was like, it had like blue water in it. And no matter which way it rolled, the duck would always like be standing up. And I was obsessed with getting that duck to the ground. Or like I wanted to get the duck out.
Oh.
And I don't know how I did this. My mother didn't know. We lived in a 3-level apartment building in Athens. I went all the way up to the roof, and I threw it from the roof, and it landed on the sidewalks. Luckily, nobody was there, and it cracked. And I remember being very happy that I got the duck
Nice.
out of the ball.
Cool.
Thank you. Cool. Let's go to. Right.
I guess it's my turn. Yeah.
Sure.
Hello, my name's Ted. I'm wearing comfortable clothes. I put my name tag on before I wrote my name on it, so I had to write my name like upside down, like looking from here. And I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed. This actually looks pretty good considering. She, doi, he, him. I grew up in Auburndale, Queens, probably close to you, Jessica. I probably know exactly where you are. I probably do. My first memory is when my first day of preschool. I remember being dropped off by my mom and then screaming and crying my eyes out and like yelling like, "Where's my mommy?" and looking at the teacher and be like, "Who are you, lady?" I mean, and then like, the next day I brought my favorite book, the monster at the end of the book with Grover from Sesame Street. Yeah, any of you who don't know this book, this is a classic of children's literature. And, the nice lady read the book to the class and, it's pretty good.
Thank you.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Rina, and I am 5'4". I have long, curly brown hair, wearing a white long sleeve shirt, skinny jeans, not as comfortable as everybody else, and dots. And my pronouns are she, her. I currently live in the Bronx, born in Puerto Rico, via Los Angeles for a while too. And my first memory was in a movie theater in Puerto Rico. My dad took us to go see Star Wars. And it changed my life forever. And I kept asking my sister, because it wasn't dubbed, what was happening, and they kept telling me to shut up. So that was my first one.
Oh my God, thank you.
Which Star Wars? Empire Strikes Back? No, girl, Star Wars, The New Hope. I'm that old. Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Yazid. Visual description, this is crazy because I never think about how I look. I just am wearing whatever I grabbed because I had to get here. That's usually how it goes. But if I think about it, red shirt, I think, blue jeans, messy hair, puffy eyes, Good morning. Pronouns he, him, place, born in Cape Town, South Africa, and now living in Washington Heights. My first memory is even before I started school, I wanted to read, so I always collected anything with printed words on it. And my mom shouted out every time I brought all these things home. She was like, "No, you don't have place." Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Liv. I'm Steph's partner actually, so I'm really excited to be here.
The best.
Yeah, you're the best. I'll stop. Visual descriptions. I actually have never done this either. I'm wearing gray cargo pants, a black New York School synthesis shirt, black overshirt thing, black skin, locks, I think a wild bucket hat with, tie-dye or whatever. And yeah, just comfortable. My pronouns are they, she. Place, I'm from Somerset, New Jersey. I've been in Brooklyn for the past 10 years, in New York for like 12 years now. And my parents are from Jersey, my grandparents are from South Carolina, so I grew up going to the South constantly as a kid to visit them, so that really formed a lot of my consciousness. And then my first memory, I couldn't really decide, but the main one that always comes back to me is I was obsessed with Barney, like obsessed. Yeah. Born in 89, and the song "Hey Mr. Knickerbocker," like, I would do that, like, I like it the way that you bop me bop with your mouth over and over. My parents were like, "You played that VHS out." So that's my favorite memory. That is the first one. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm wearing a black and white striped shirt, black and white striped socks, jeans, Keith Haring's Converse. I'm originally from Nashville. I now live in Manhattan, but I work in the Bronx. Love it. What else? I'm she, her. And I guess my first memory is of my godmother, who was also a teacher, which I guess is why I am where I am. But I was being extra, and she stopped me by telling me the story of Pompeii and how the people were stoned. The rest of the day, I remember looking at her when I was doing something. She would go. So that's my first memory of my godmother freaking me out.
Thank you so much.
Alright, so hello, I'm Megan. I have reddish dyed hair, reddish pinkish hair. I'm wearing all gray today, basically. I was gray sweater dress, gray sneakers, some patterned gray and black tights. Just happened. My pronouns are she, her. I was born in Kenton, but I grew up and was raised in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. My first memory is having a little cassette player, and I had 3 songs that I was obsessed with. It was a beluga whale song that was a nursery rhyme, Britney Spears, Even I Did It Again. And I would sing it all day, every day, anywhere I went, just playing these little cassette tapes, switching them out, and with a little microphone.
Thank you. That's amazing.
My name's Anne. I like to wear comfortable clothes, to be able to move, music, dance, sing. I come from a big family, and we have a lot of music. My son's a DJ, so I hear music at 11:30, and what are we broadcasting now? Come listen to my music. I don't care. We stop what we're doing, and we just dance in the living room. But this is the way it is. And come on, he's always performing. Hope we make it a little bit bigger. My husband's a songwriter, and I said it's never too late for anything. I started late, like with working with autistic children, like it's never too late. Like 58. I'm 66 now. But I feel like you have to be in shape, on the floor with them, and I make a lot of art with bottles, and you have to adapt to what they can do, and I feel like I see a lot of things that people don't see. And I'm really like trying, I always try, my aim is to do more with them, but to really let them feel it, and they have a lot to offer, which people don't see. And then, so I've seen in my family that, to just be out of the box. So, we had to move around, we had 5 children, my father worked, so, you see a lot. I've been in New York and different places, travel and whatever. But my first memory, he used to fly, so we have appreciation for a lot of different cultures. And everybody was open, the door was always open. So with a lot of, whatever it is, heartache or help. And I saw one time at 5 years old, I just want to be alone. I laid on the grass looking up at the clouds. I still photograph the clouds. I feel like where I am in Brooklyn, I'm near Coney Island, so there's a lot of open space, no big buildings, and there's a lot to offer. So with the kids that I deal with, I try to get them to just handle a leaf, hands-on, to just feel it, feel nature.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, cool. Thanks. My name is Gloria. Most people call me Glow. I am black. I have curly dark hair. I'm wearing, I really don't know how I put this together, but I'm wearing light blue, light gray, ripped jeans, even though it was really cold. A new thermal shirt with a gray cardigan. I have hoop earrings. I have my name on them. My pronouns are she, they. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. My family is from Colombia, so I'm Afro-Latina. But I currently live in the Bronx, been living there for almost 10 years. I love it up there. And my first memory is, I don't know how so many of us packed into a car, but my family, we drove from Brooklyn to Florida. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. It was fun. I know that we went to Disney, but I remember the car ride more than actual Disney.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl. I'm 5'4", honey complexion, short curly hair. Today I'm wearing all black. My pronoun is she, her. Place. I was born in Brooklyn, but raised in Queens. And my first memory is we moved from Brooklyn in '76. I remember attending an after-school program where I first found my love of art. So,
thank you.
Hi, my name is Jillian. I've never done a visual description either, so it feels more natural to start from the bottom. So I'm gonna start from the bottom. I'm wearing black Docs. I have on textured gray tights, a blue skirt that has bleach stains on it, but I really like it, so I keep wearing it. And I'm an art teacher, so it doesn't matter. I'm wearing a textured sweater that was gifted to me from someone else, and it has like a faux leather stripe on it, so I consider this my fancy sweatshirt. Okay, so I'm from Staten. My parents are both from Brooklyn, so I'm like a pizza bagel. My dad was from Bensonhurst. My mom is from Borough Park. They were not, like, their families were not excited about them getting married, but they did. They wanted a pool, so they moved to Staten, and that's kind of how I ended up there. I go by she, her. I've been thinking about everyone else's memories, so it's kind of altering what my first memory actually is, but for people who were talking about hospitals and like people caring for them, I remember my brother is 4 years younger than me, so he was probably 4 at the time. He sliced his forehead open, and my dad was holding him in the hallway screaming, he's bleeding, and the blood is like flying everywhere. And I'm just watching this, and my brother whispers to me, get the erasers. And so I should have prefaced this story by saying that we're collectors. So my brother and I collected erasers. We had like a briefcase and a bucket full of erasers that we would take everywhere. So I remember distinctly sitting in the hospital waiting room with like a briefcase and a bucket of erasers, staring at me and me being like, you want one? And them being like, no, I don't want one. So that's so great. The memory that I have. Thank you.
Thanks. My name is Jackie. I'm wearing black boots, wool socks, purple pants, a black shirt. My pronouns are she, they. I am from New Jersey by way of my family is from Taiwan, so I'm Taiwanese American. And I grew up in Somerset County, also born in '89.
Oh my goodness.
I went to Montgomery High School, Bridgewater Mall, my first CD
Bridgewater
there.
Mall was the spot. Got it.
Hot Topic, Julia's, all of that.
Yep.
But my first memory, I remember, I don't know if it's real, but I think it is. I remember being on the plane, and I was with my grandparents, so if it's real, then it was when I was like not even 1 year old yet. So that's why I'm not sure if it's real. But I remember walking on the plane, my grandparents being on either side in the back of the plane, walking by myself from one person to the other. Like the windows were open, so it's like very sunny. So it must have been. I know they took me to Taiwan before I was 1, without my parents because they had to work. So that was my first memory.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Brenna. I have light white skin. It's probably a little red too right now because I get a little anxious during these things. But I've been really enjoying hearing everybody's stories. I'm wearing gray and khaki. I was born on the Jersey Shore. I live in Brooklyn, and my first memory was learning how to swim. Thanks for, somebody mentioned in the very beginning hands, and that triggered my memory, and I have this memory of one of my favorite uncles cupping the water, you know, and like showing me how to swim in a swimming pool. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Stephanie. And also I have like my mom's support too, right here.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm from Manhattan in Harlem, and my parents are both Mexican, so I'm Mexican American. And my forgot. What I'm wearing is sneaker with pink and purple mix, and black pants, and kind of like a ward of how do you say it? Like a red, dark red. And my memory, I was trying to figure out one, but when it came out, it was when I was little. I cut my hair, my bangs, because I was like, you know what, I can do this. So I show out my sisters, and they were panicking, and so my mom, and my mom has like, no, we had to cut it, and it went very short. And I remember the next day was picture day, and I had a little short hair and like smiling.
Thank
you. Hi everyone, I'm Amanda. I am wearing a black sweater, a navy skirt, and black boots. I have brown hair, gray eyes, and white skin. I go by the pronoun she, they, or she, her, sorry. And in terms of place, I grew up in Pennsylvania in a small town called Altoona. It's right by Penn State, if anybody is an Indiana fan, it's very close. And moved to the city maybe 14 years ago, and I am currently living in Astoria. I know some other people mentioned it, great spot in Queens. And my first memory, I appreciate all of these memories, they've been such an exciting thing to hear. But I was obsessed with bathing suits and jellies. Did anybody round jellies?
Jellies, yes.
So I remember being so excited. So where I grew up, there's like lakes everywhere. I mean, they're not really like lakes, they're just like very large ponds, really. And having this blue and red bathing suit with Mickey Mouse on and these like bright blue jellies. And we were like in the car going to the lake, and I just like thought I was the cat's meow, like walking down the grass, like diving in the lake in my blue and white bathing, or blue and red bathing suit with jellies.
Thank you. Thank you. Who else are we have? Okay.
Hi,
My name's Mark Robinson. Visually, right now, I'm wearing kind of gray on gray. I wear Crocs, I think, for the last 4 or 5 years. I don't think I've worn anything else unless I'm playing soccer. Normally, I have hockey socks on. I don't now, so I'm wearing these white socks, which is a real crime, I think. But anyway, white, stringy hair, nose that's been broken, piercings that no longer are being used. Pronouns he, him. Place is complicated for me because I'm a military brat, and my first few years, we were only stationed 6 months at a time, different places. But I'm deeply connected to my Oma's home in Frankfurt, and I'm deeply connected to Hawaii, where I lived for a very long time, and I'm deeply connected to Brooklyn and New York City. My first memory, again, complicated because of all the movie, and my mom and I argue about things sometimes. But first vague memory is being plopped in front of the TV in 1969, and then people kind of going nuts around me, and because we were watching the moon landing. But my real first vivid memory is just laying on a hill and watching paratroopers jump out of planes.
Thank you.
Okay. Name, so I'm Dana. I am wearing beige-ish shoes with like these tassels on them. And then green pants, black shirt. But the green pants have like a bow on the ankle and on the waist. I'm like lately obsessed with like how like buildings are adorned, right? Like you have like that fancy like, I don't know, some of them have like a wolf or whatever it is, or a goddess like etched in. So I like that idea of doing that to clothing. And I don't usually have the time in the morning to like put a thoughtful clothing together, something that I feel like represents me. So it's funny that this is being brought up today because I had time in the morning. Because this is right down from my house, which I guess, so I currently, my pronouns are she, her. I'm placed with the Vinegar Hill currently. I've been in Brooklyn, I don't really want to do the math, but I feel like it's probably over 20 years right now. And the original place I grew up was Mamaroneck. And I don't know if anyone's been to Mamaroneck and to Vinegar Hill, but it's funny because it brings up a lot of those initial childhood memories, because it's very like, has like forest or like a lot of like weird spaces that provoke creativity or creative thought. And then my first memory, I guess, so another question that bothers me, is like, whatever, is that when I was a kid, there was this wallpaper that I would like peel off all the time, and I would get in so much trouble for it. But it was like my favorite thing to do. So it was like my initial battle of like, all right, I'm gonna get in trouble, or is it worth it to peel the wall? Yes. It was especially because I had trouble sleeping. So it was like, you know, the best thing to do when you have trouble sleeping. And then get in trouble on your way.
Thank you so much. Si quería introducirse a usted, si se quiere introducir,
She could do it in Spanish. You want me?
¿Quiere hablar español?
Si quiere introducirse, decir su nombre.
Oh, sí, mi nombre es Carolina y
Carolina.
yo soy de México
She's from Mexico.
y vine a acompañar a mi hija.
She came to accompany her daughter, Stephanie. Gracias.
Hi, my name's Christy. I'm wearing black boots, black pants, with a light brown and cream snakeskin blazer. I have long, dark red hair, pale skin with a little bit of freckles. Don't have any pronoun preferences. My mother was Irish Choctaw. My dad was European descent. I was born in Oklahoma. Grew up on the West Coast, and I've been in New York about 10 years. I was really triggered by the first memory as I was in a parking lot, a very cold evening, My mother was in a puffy jacket. I was probably a toddler. It was very cold, and my sister was there, who I recently lost. So I really want to thank the people that talked about their loss before me. The person that lost their father and uncle, I was able to get some strength from that, and I was able to talk.
Thank you. And last but not least.
Amanda, she, her, wearing brown shoes, blue jeans, and a blue jacket. I also have cochlear implants on each ear, wearing glasses, and I have short black hair. It's a place I was born and raised in Long Island, and I moved to Washington Heights actually, but now I'm currently in Brooklyn. My first memory would probably be in the backyard with my brother and my parents when I was 3 years old, playing tennis, which turned into pissing off my neighbors, I guess. Because I turned it into softball.
And I want y'all to take a moment to reflect on that pause that you had when you went to share your first memory. Transparency. When I do this activity, I always pick the good memory because I have a good and a bad memory. And I appreciate everyone who shared the memories that were difficult to share. When we're working with children with disabilities, with people with disabilities, we have to understand that there may be trauma involved. Working with any kind of children in New York City, period, there will be trauma involved. And when we talk about memories, when we talk about our history, when we talk about how we contextualize this in a classroom to engage students, it's important to honor that sometimes memories may be hard to bring up, and then we have to hold space for that too. And that these things are not binary. There's not just a good memory or a bad memory. Sometimes it's all mixed in. And I loved how some people were like, I don't remember if this was a photo or what, or other people's memories influence my memories. And that just goes to show when we build memories and share memories together, we are creating a collective memory together. Today, we all made this memory together. And it's really important, especially as colonized peoples, disabled people, Black and brown indigenous peoples, immigrants, that our memories are honored and that we have folks who are bearing witness to our memory, whether it be joy, pain, embarrassment, sadness. All of it is valid. All of it is valid. And I wanted to kick this off with this, and I wanted to take the time that it took because technically we're supposed to be done in like what? At 10, in like 11:45. It's 11:37. But this is part of what happens in a classroom, right? Y'all know this better than me. You may have a plan, but things go out the way. And one of the things that ableism asks us to do is to be perfect. I want you to throw perfectionism out the window ASAP. Nobody here is perfect. Perfectionism, that concept of perfectionism, is a concept of white supremacy and ableism. So when we enter classrooms, we need to be able to understand we're working with people who have memories that may be suppressed, memories that may be hard to dig at as a form of protection, right? We're all trying to survive. Whether or not we may have the language to access in that, to express ourselves, as some of our children that we work with may not have that access, there's still a form of expression. And as y'all know, we express through our eyes, our hands, our bodies, not just our language. And so take this activity home. Think about how you can remix it for yourself and your classroom. And this is my offering. I'm going to move into the next slides with the time that we have, but I want you to hold that grace and just, understand that as we move through this. So I wanted to introduce myself a little bit more as to why was I asked to be here today. Is like, who is Stephanie? Who is this person? The work I do is called Fotos y Recuerdos, which means photographs and memories. And the offering I wanted to give y'all is to use archiving as a form of disability justice. Using photography archives specifically as a way to engage your students, to have them have an example of how to see themselves, how to identify themselves, how to tell their stories, how to honor their stories in community. And this is a little bit about me. Fotos y Recuerdos is about remembering for those who cannot. When we think about our community members with dementia, Alzheimer's, different dissociative disorders, oftentimes they're not going to be able to access those memories. But what's important when we share together in community is that there'll be someone else who will do the remembering for them. And this is a form of resistance. This is a form of joy that we can give ourselves in our communities. And so it's about bearing witness to the joy and sharing stories for generations to come, right? Thinking about indigenous practices, always thinking about 7 generations ahead whenever you're doing something now. And it's inspired by the disability justice principles of interdependence and collective access towards collective liberation. Capitalism asks us to be very individual, is my business, is my money, is my property, is me, is me, is me. I don't care who lives next door. We're conditioned to be like this, not only in the school system that we're all complicit to here, but also in society and norms that we practice in a capitalist society. So disability justice asks us to think interdependently, to understand that we're all linked and that we need each other in order to thrive, right? My history, I have a history of various different disabilities, such as neurodivergency around ADHD, I have borderline personality disorder, major depressive disorder, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. As a young kid, the memory I didn't want to share was that 3 years old, I remember seeing my father literally knock out my mother unconscious in front of me. And when you have memories like that, that changes you completely. And I know I'm not the only one. Many students that you deal with are also going through this right now. And that affects the way a child develops. That affects the way a child sees themselves, the safety that they understand and develop, right? So I grew up in domestic violence households. Sometimes it wasn't even domestic. Sometimes it was in the streets too. And I've also had incarcerated family members. My father is currently under house arrest for the last 3 years. And I have a family history of dementia and Alzheimer's. So this project of working with archives and making it accessible to community members is a way that I've been able to kind of alchemize my experiences with various disabilities, my experiences with various traumas, and express it through art as a form of resistance and cultural reparations, because I also like to do these workshops in community gardens and in public parks and in public areas. So also think about that when you're thinking about your curriculum, thinking about where you're gonna do these works, how you can express and take up space intentionally with your people. So I combine trauma-informed community organizing principles. I've been a community organizer since I was 13 years old. I was a youth organizer in the South Bronx. And in all these years, I've kind of transformed from being an activist, organizer in the movement to working for myself as a working artist and continuing to do this work through an expressive way where I didn't necessarily feel constrained to institutions at the time. And my experience currently with working with photographic archives is with the Kathleen Cleaver Family Archives. So folks who may not know, Kathleen Neal Cleaver is a former Black Panther Party member, and check my time, okay. And she and I have been friends since 2015, and we helped create her family photographic archive. And so we're actually gonna be talking about this on Saturday, moving on to Literary Freedom Project. I'm on the board of the Literary Freedom Project, which is an organization based in the Bronx, been around for 25 years, founded by Ron Kavanaugh, triple OG. And so we have a virtual conference on Saturday. We kept it virtual intentionally, thinking about our people and communities with disabilities. And this is super intentional now that there's a lot of talk about how the pandemic is over, we're no longer in a national emergency, they're cutting funds, they're charging for PCR tests. It's getting more and more difficult, and the pandemic is still very much real. And even before COVID, there were always folks who maybe didn't have the energy to really brush their teeth today. and could just pop open their phone and watch it from home and watch it from bed. And there are many days where that's the level of energy that I have, where it's just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just keep watching here. I'm gonna roll over, find the cold side of the pillow again. You know, keeping in mind, we're keeping the conference virtual, and so it's happening on Saturday, and I'm gonna talk more with my fellow archivists about Kathleen's family archives and the trust that involved, and how it was a unique archive because we started in her home. We never entered an institution to begin with, which inspired the fact that archives can exist anywhere. Archives are your grandmother's family photo album. We are all living archives as well. And the power of knowing how to preserve your photographs, knowing how to tell your story goes beyond institutions, and it's really a way to empower and reinforce the brilliance that's in the room, the joy that exists in your life and in your family's life and in your community's life. You can move to the next slide. So the timeline activity is outside. So you guys can do this, y'all can do this during the lunch break. That's right now, pretty much. Okay. I don't want to stop y'all from eating, trust and believe, because I know it doesn't matter how cute I look up here, y'all going to be like, damn, I hope it's not salads. You know, like, damn, where's the nearest deli? I need a bacon, egg, and cheese. Like, I know it. Ya yo lo conozco a ustedes, no me hagan. So this is just another exercise that I can offer y'all. So a timeline activity, there's many different kinds of timeline activities. This one I created for today, and I have all the links in the presentation as to how I did it. And the actual slide deck of the timeline is a shareable link on Google Drive on the slides. So all of y'all are gonna get that. And you could remix it the way you wanna remix it. And the point in terms of how I understand pedagogy is to share it, which is why I'm here too to print Polaroid pictures for y'all in preparation for the afternoon. And this activity is connected to, let's go to the next slide for a second. When you're outside during the lunch break, think about these questions. And you can hold, and this again, an example of what you can do in your classroom. In the timeline that I created, what events stood out to you most and why? What connections do you see to your own experience as an educator? What would you like to add in the timeline, or what's missing? And what is the relationship between the timeline and photo archives? Super important connection I'm trying to make for y'all today is to understand that our histories and how we remember history is extremely intentional, and in this country is extremely whitewashed, and it is intentionally fascist, where they erase histories of people, Black people with disabilities, Indigenous people with disabilities, and we have the power in our hands as educators, as community members, as lovers, as friends, to be able to create time capsules and time travel the way we wish today. You can print a picture from 1969 right now, and it'll be a printed picture in 2022. When you look at the timeline outside, think about how powerful it would be for your classroom, for your kids, to create your own classroom timeline and have everybody print out their picture and put the years on the timeline and see, wow, I was born this year, you were born that year. What happened between these years that were really important to remember in the history of our classroom and the history of the cultures that are in this classroom? In terms of disability justice, we have different examples outside. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. I believe this toolkit was given to y'all, the archive toolkit. So we can just, this is my mama. Shout out to my mom. And this is when I was in Wave Hill. I was in residency at Wave Hill Community Gardens. And this is where this project was born, where I started thinking about archiving in a way to build, as a way to build community. And so, and this day was the Family Art Project Day, and these kids we did like a photo shoot for the family and printed out the photos, and they did collages using healing herbs. So using like rose, you have a question? The zine. Yeah, okay, y'all can get, okay. All this will be shared. all of it is online too, so you can have access to it. And it's a pretty simple toolkit. You can go to the next slide, where we talk about what is an archive. And this was a project dedicated to the Bronx at the beginning, Fotos y Recuerdos of Bronx Photo and Poetry Archive, where I was collecting stories and collecting photographs taken in the Bronx up until 2011 when smartphones became, 2004 I believe, when smartphones became popular. So folks would stop by my studio and bring pictures. I would give them archival sleeves. I would give them acid-free paper, number 2 pencils, and we did an installation in my studio across 6 weeks. And that's what this project kind of birthed. And so I created a toolkit for folks to understand the power of preserving our own histories and our stories. You can go on to the next slide. Super easy, everything. Cotton gloves. I don't have any cotton gloves for y'all, but if you can, get cotton gloves. Select a photo, measure a photograph. This is the example of how you would write a description if you were formally archiving a picture. The sweetest way to put it is organize it by years if you can. And the sleeve. Acid-free sleeves are important. Right now, probably you have photo albums with the glue. Your abuelita has the binder hanging out at the end, you know. All that acid is eating away at the picture. You need gloves because the oil and dirt in your nails eat away at the picture. Polaroids tend to fade over time, but the acid-free archival sleeve keeps it from fading away. So these are just tools that I learned in my work and working in archives that I wanted to make free and available to all those who come to the workshops. Keep going, the next slide. An example of the spreadsheet. All this is available online, and this is where I could get actual materials. And keep going. Bibliography, invitation to build your own archive. The next slide, please. And this is something that I wanted to do with y'all, and I guess we still can make time and we can just be flexible about it, but you can take this and again remix it for your classroom. The activity was going to be print a photograph from your personal archive. I can print any photo directly from your phone right now. Everybody will get a picture. I'm willing to stay later so that everybody gets at least one photo, one Polaroid. And then free write in the beginning saying with I remember. Write lots of small memories. If you fall into a large memory, write that. If you get stuck, repeat the phrase I remember again and again and keep going. This is an example from a past workshop that somebody did. And I've done this workshop virtually. This is the first time I would actually doing it here in person. So it actually also can be translated virtually, and I'm happy to talk to you all as to how to do that too. Next. Gave y'all some ideas. I love music. People mention music here too. Music and photography and poetry are all kind of go together. Another example, it would be to create an archive using music, using a playlist, like a dance party playlist, for folks to be in their bodies and to express using their bodies. I had mentioned creating historical photo boards to celebrate disability justice leaders, the collage idea as well. And the next slide, I think, is just the resources that I use to create the timeline. I think that's pretty much it for that, yeah. So, not that bad, 53. Right before lunch. So, I just want to thank all of you for your attention, your time, and your energy. I'm going to be here printing photos. So during lunch, come up to me and I'll print out the photo for you, and I'll give you an archival sleeve. And you can do this exercise with your time. But the goal for today was to really bring these connections together for you all. Take intentional time and space for y'all to listen to each other intentionally and realize how we create memories collectively and how powerful it is to name memories, honor histories, and to do that in community, and to have the opportunity to give these materials for free, right? Polaroids are intentionally expensive. The machine I have is intentionally expensive, right? Made it accessible to our people. And so my choice is to come here and give all of this for free. Archival sleeves can be expensive too, but hopefully advocate to your school budget or your council member to allot funds for these sorts of materials, to create more interactive classrooms, intentional classrooms to talk about disability justice specifically, because there's disability rights, there's disability justice, And the timeline, as you will see, I really focus on Black history and disability justice history together. So you'll be able to see those connections in a timeline. But again, a timeline is not complete. It's always in progress, and it's not linear either, right? Black feminist studies teaches us that time is not linear. So, yes? Okay, yeah. Cool. So, yeah. I hope y'all enjoyed this time together. Appreciate y'all's patience. And if you have any questions, I'm around. Thank you so much, Photobro. Thank you so much, Koren, for this opportunity. And I'm super humbled and grateful to be here with y'all. Thank you.
I have such a full heart for the presentation, the offering. Let's not say presentation, the offering that Stephanie just shared with us. And I think it goes along with what I was saying in the beginning in terms of intentionality. Time is a construct, and so we honor space and time as a thing that needs to be fluid. And so the resources will be shared. The PowerPoint presentation will be shared with all of you guys so that you can remix it. You know, you can do it verbatim, but part of curriculum or toolkits is the creativity that we can bring forth in our classrooms to connect with our students. And so, again, round of applause for Stephanie Alvarado. Phenomenal activist and artist, community member. And so with that, without further ado, it's lunchtime. Stretch your legs, get some water, enjoy the food, also connect with each other. So, oh, and also we have the rooftop that is an option if you want to get some fresh air. We will have a staff member that will be located upstairs that can help you to get up there. And you can see the view and Dumbo, the bridges and all the things. So yeah, it's lunchtime and enjoy.